So in the second part, we're going to actually take our high and low poly models and we're going to bake the textures out. So this is XNormal. XNormal is a great piece of software, completely free. You can download it yourself, and it is pretty powerful for a free piece of software. So let's go into this. So this is how it opens up. We have several areas on this. I'm going to start with these two here. So here I can bring in my low mesh and my high poly mesh. So let's just click on the low definition mesh. Now, if you've used it before, what you may find is that it comes up with the last thing that you baked. So I'm just going to go down here and clear all meshes. Same in the high definition. Let's just clear all meshes in there. So let's click back to the low definition meshes. And to bring a mesh in, the easiest way, we can do it a couple of ways, but I find the easiest way is just to right click and click on this add meshes. And then we can just browse to, I'm going to browse to my folder on the desktop. And let's choose this fence low. I think, yep, low definition. So fence low, open that. And this will bring in FBX files and OBJ files. Let's go to the high definition meshes and do the same. So I'm going to right click, add meshes, and let's just choose my fence high there. So fence low, fence high. Okay. All we need to do is just go to the baking options and we can choose what maps we want to bake out. So for this example, I'm going to bake out a normal map, a height map, and an ambient occlusion. And really, I'm just going to use the ambient occlusion and the normal map, but just to show you what a height map looks like as well. So we can change some of the settings in here for each of these different things. We can go into the settings and play around with these. I'm going to leave this basically at the defaults for all of these. If you were taking a normal map out, depending what you were taking it into, you may have to change this to -y. I'll leave that at +y for now. We can always change that afterwards. If we're going into Unity, I believe this is a +y, an OpenGL version. DirectX, I think it's a -y on there. So I'll leave this as +y for now. Okay, that. Again, the height map we have some properties for, and the same with the ambient occlusion. But as I say, I'll leave these all at the defaults just for now. Anti-aliasing, just for speed, I'm going to set to 2. We can up that to 4. You'll get a better quality map, but just for the purposes of this tutorial, I'll leave it there. And the edge padding and bucket size, I'm going to leave those at their defaults as well. The only things you may want to change is the actual size of the map or the resolution of the map. So this I'm taking out as a 2K. And the output file. So I'm going to click in here. I'm going to go again to my folder. And actually, because of where I brought these in, it's looking to that folder anyway. I'm going to go back out of folder from my exports. I'm going to make a new folder. And I'm just going to call this bakes. And choose that folder, open, and then save. Give this a name. Let's call this fence. And let's just save that out. It uses this as a prefix, and then whatever maps we're rendering out, it will use those as a suffix afterwards. So they'll be called fence underscore normal, fence underscore height, fence underscore ambient occlusion, or AO. So once those things are done, all we need to do is just click on this generate maps. And depending on the resolution you've got and the quality you've got on this, it can be quite quick, quite slow. Ambient occlusions tend to take quite a while to go out. So let's just generate this out. So you can see this building it bit by bit. And when it comes to the ambient occlusion, I'll actually pause it. So that's the normal map, the height map, and it goes through, does this calculation first, then comes up and shows you the height map. So we can just close that window. And then it will go through and start doing the ambient occlusion, which is the slowest one. So I'll just pause this for a second as this works it out. Okay, so that finished, just took a couple of minutes. I can just close this now. And that is all of those things baked out. Okay, so if I just go back into Maya as an example, what I'm going to do is I'll just create another plane. Let's move this to the side, and let's set this to be 300 or 3 meters squared there. If I just right click and do assign a new material, and we're just going to assign a Lambert for this. Just I'm only showing you the results of the normal map. Let's go into the Lambert. in our bump mapping, I'm going to click at the side and we're going to choose to bring in a file. And the use as, I'm going to change this over to tangent space normals. And then click on this where we have our input node here to bring in that texture. So here we have the image name. I can browse on here. I can just go up and let's check this is my right folder. So it doesn't. Let's go back to my peaks. Let's go into the normals and open that up. Do you want to see this if I just press 6? And there we have our normal map on that. Okay. So that's just quickly how to bake out from our high poly mesh to our low poly mesh. Just use an XNormal, just with the defaults. Say depending on what you're doing, you may have to play around with some of those results, some of those options. Particularly, just go to the low definition mesh. This maximum front rear distance and maximum rear distance. So this is how far it's looking out from the original model to find the details from the high poly model. So both out of the mesh and into the mesh. So that could be something you do have to change. Be aware that normal maps can't create, can't work with detail that's too high out. It won't be able to cope with it. It can't physically bring out the mesh in that way. It just fakes the lighting on the mesh to make it seem like it's 3D. So details like this you can kind of get away with. Bigger details you just can't. So what I'm going to do in the next tutorial is actually look at how we can get these normal maps or any other textures actually, or different kind of textures, from a different method by using an image conversion or a map conversion.